Hi DF team, exclamation point, long time listener here, first time question poser. With the next generation of gaming consoles due at some point in the next 3 to 4 years, and considering Mr. Surly's recent comments about machine learning, how do you expect current high-end PC hardware to compare? Will an RTX 5090 or even 4090 be able to outperform the PS6/Next box in future console ports for years to come? Also, with rumours of Rubin architecture forecasted earlier than expected, is it even worth buying into the 50 series of cards? Or should PC gamers wait around for the inevitable 60 series? All the best! Exclamation point. Well, why not hang about for 70 or 80 series while we're at it? Ultimately, upgrades are driven by the fact that, you've got a PC, you don't think it's performing well or well enough, and you want to buy something new, and you buy what's available. I say there's only really a sort of argument for waiting if we're in a period like now where we know there's going to be hardware appearing very, very soon. So I don't think there's any sort of reason to prolong an upgrade. I can't see, how long are we talking here? A year, 2 years? We don't really know. But if it's a year, that's a long time to wait. Oliver, what do you think high-end PC hardware will look like? I mean, we're talking about like the next 3 to 4 years, so 2027 to 2028. Inevitably, the next generation of high-end PC hardware is still going to be a lot better than a console, right? I mean, that's just the way it works.
Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly high-end PC hardware in 3 or 4 years is going to be way ahead of the consoles that launch in a similar time period. But I think even with like a 4090 or a 5090, I think it'll be pretty far ahead, just in part because NVIDIA is so far ahead in terms of DLSS frame generation, DLSS ray reconstruction, and now all these various technologies that seem to be coming up at CES. Like it's a pretty big lead, and they keep building on it. And at this point, all the other vendors are years behind, I'd have to suggest at this point. So that will if that trajectory continues, then NVIDIA will have a big lead in terms of these fundamental technologies. And also, you'd also assume that the PS6 probably will not have a 4090 level GPU. I would assume, just in terms of raster performance, it's not going to be there. So, that's also going to be a big impediment there. For Rubin is interesting because I have seen those rumors for early 2026. Interestingly, it's a 3nm chip, so it's kind of their first 3nm series of graphics cards there. But the Q1 2026 rumor, I believe, is for enterprise. So that's enterprise with HBM4 memory. So when that hits for consumers, I'd think it could be quite a bit later than that, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, who knows. But certainly with NVIDIA right now, when you look at where they're making money and when you look at where their profit centers are and when you look at why they're a $3 trillion company right now, it's not because they're selling RTX GPUs to PC gamers. It's because of the data center. And that would certainly be where their priorities are. And I would suggest and suspect that if they're launching a 5090 in Q1 2025, they wouldn't be launching a 6090 in Q1 2026. That's a very unusual pacing for consumer graphics at this point.
Yeah, why would they need to? I guess, if there is going to be a Rubin architecture in 2026, it's actually an interesting point of delineation if it's on a much smaller node. First of all, it will be affordable in that marketplace because they charge a hell of a lot of money for it, which they possibly couldn't do for the consumer. And also basically means that the existing node will get cheaper for the RTX cards for consumers. And ultimately, why would they need to make a more powerful piece of hardware when they've already got the most powerful? It doesn't really make sense. Any thoughts on this one, John?
Not especially, but I mean, I think as we've seen over time with each new console in the last couple generations, it's becoming harder and harder to top what the PC can do, given that the ceiling has become so much higher in the PC space than it used to be. And consoles are no longer leading the charge in terms of cutting edge features, really,
Yeah.
by and large. So, and they have, because of the price point they need to hit, it's just hitting that mark is going to be very, very, very difficult. But of course, as we know, the comparison to PC doesn't really mean everything, right? Like obviously console developers are able to exploit that hardware in very interesting ways and produce unexpectedly great results, right? So it's not really an issue per se, but as far as this person asking, should they wait for it? I mean, I think just going with a 5090 or 4090 or whatever right now, you're going to be fine for a long time. I think PC gaming as in general is actually shifting more towards being more scalable than it's been for a while with the rise of popularity of portable PCs. So I just don't think there's that much of an issue with it. I think any high-end card is going to last for years and years and years and years without any issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, there's just the whole question of what we should expect from next gen, because clearly it's not going to be PC like, where it's more about getting the most of the most efficient design out of a set budget. Whereas with PC, it's like, well, how much money do you have? We've got the product for you.